And welcome to our first video lecture. We're going to learn a lot about Excel, especially some advanced business techniques in this course. But just to start, I know everyone comes from different backgrounds. I want to do a very simple spreadsheet, go over some very basic functionality of Microsoft Excel, and I thought we could do that just by creating a budget. Everybody is the CEO of themselves. Everyone makes money. Everybody spends money. When you save money, at the end of the day, this is called your personal savings, of course. So the money you bring in, that's your revenue. What you spend, of course, that's your cost. And then at the end of the day, what you're after, of course, is savings, or in the business world, your profit, which is your revenue minus cost. So let's talk about your income. What I'd like you to do is make this spreadsheet with me, go through, see if you can keep up with the pace that I'm going at. If I ever go too fast, pause the video. My version of Excel may look a little different than your version of Excel, and that's okay. They have all the same functionality. I'm on a PC, you may be on a Mac. If that's the case, just search for where the thing is. If it looks a little different, I'm sure it's very, very close. Just do a quick search to find it. What I care more about is the functionality of the spreadsheets, the formulas that we'll use, the formatting that we'll use as well. So let's do a very simple budget just to plan things out. I'm going to make up some numbers. If you want to plug in your numbers, that's fine, but let's do a salary. Again, notice what I'm doing. I'm labeling the number I'm about to put in. I don't put the label and the number in the same cell. I'm going to make up a salary here, let's say $50,000. Notice that I'm typing the number in naked, as I call it. I'm not putting the dollar signs, I'm not putting the commas, I just want the digits, 5 and then a bunch of zeros. When I hit enter, I get the number, and now if I want it to display as currency, I can use this dollar sign symbol here at the Home tab, or use the drop down and display it as currency. Normally, when you work with financial spreadsheets, you don't include the pennies, so we'll kill the pennies. And you can use these two little more or less increase or decrease decimal places up on the Home tab. We're getting to know a lot of the features of the Home tab. Of course, whenever you receive your salary and you receive your paycheck at the end of the day, the number that you make is not equal to the number that is deposited into your account. Nothing is certain in life but death and taxes. So let's put some taxes in here. Tax brackets may vary. Let's do federal taxes. Let's say they're at 22%. Who knows what it'll be? Again, kind of making up some numbers here. Taxes, of course, vary if you have dependents, you're married, single. And what happens when I do that is the column gets a little too small. Just a friendly reminder, how do you do that? You widen the column. You can do it automatically by double clicking. So go click, click if it's too small, and it will auto fit it for you. You could drag it across, no big deal. And now we have our first calculation. I would like to know what 22% of $50,000 is. So whenever you want Excel to do a calculation, of course, we start with equal. This tells Excel, hey, turn into a calculator, compute something for me. And I want 22% of $50,000. So pause the video for a second and see if you can remember how to compute this. What does of mean? Is it add, subtract, multiply, or divide? You ready? I hope you said multiply. So 22% of $50,000 is 22% of $50,000. And notice I click cell that contains the $50,000. I do not type $50,000. This is called referencing. And I want to link to the cell. So when I do that, it puts the address of the cell B4. And this is important. You could also type if you know the address, if it's easy to find, you can go in there and type B4. I find it a little easier to click, but whatever works for you. When you're ready, hit enter, and there's our taxes that we're going to pay. Now, notice the formula is not showing. Of course, if I highlight the cell, it's showing in the formula bar, but really what I want to do is, there's a nice little formula called formula text, so you can start typing and it appears, hit tab and you fill it, and then once you do, it opens the parentheses. Just click the cell with the formula, close the parentheses and hit enter, and it will show you the formula. This is nice when there are actually formulas in the cell. I put it right next to it to show both you, and then of course if I were passing this off to somebody, to show them that how it's being calculated. So there I have my taxes at 22%. Other things that I might want to consider is some sort of medical. Maybe I have dental that gets pulled out if you have other people coming out here. So who knows what these are. Some people put in for their retirement. Again, all these things will vary depending on what it is. If you have a very expensive medical plan or you want the finest dental care money can buy, some people, this is a little bit of personal philosophy here, they put as much money as they can into retirement. Some people hold back because they need the cash now. I'm just going to make up some numbers here. There's no right or wrong numbers. Let's say I'm putting $5,000 down for dental. Dental is generally cheaper than medical for sure. Again, just making up numbers. So let's put the numbers in. Again, I don't put the dollar signs in. I don't put the commas. You can do batch formatting. You can highlight multiple things. Come over here, change it to currency. Let's remove the pennies, and there we have it. So these are all hard-coded numbers. You could imagine trying to back into this and maybe you know what percent of your retirement is and put another formula, but that's all fine. So some things I'm going to do just to make this spreadsheet a little more pretty. I'm going to bold. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, but you can certainly just click the B here on the Home tab. I'm also going to indent. These are these arrows on the alignment portion of the Home tab. You can slide these over. You can make these nice. You could write, justify things, although that doesn't look as nice anymore. Maybe we'll do it like that. This is all personal preference. We're just doing this to show you what these buttons do. You kind of choose how you want to display it. As long as it's readable, then I'm fine with it. And the last but not least, if you want your net income, so we'll type in our net income. Maybe we'll back this up, not indented, make this bold. Once again, this is a formula. I do not want anyone to sort of pull out a calculator or their phone to kind of work out what this is. Remember, at the heart of it, Excel is a calculator. You can go equals, click on the salary, and then you can do this a couple ways, but for the first time, let's just see it in action here. You can subtract off your taxes. You can subtract off your medical. You can subtract off your dental. You can subtract off of your retirement. Hit enter when you're ready. It is a nice formula, so you can see all the pieces of motion here, but this is your salary, and then it comes off the top. And what you're left with at the end of the day, and again, this is yearly, instead of $50,000, you are actually taking home $28,500. This is a calculation, so I will copy and paste my formula text, and that's in C9, just to show that this is actually a formula. All the other ones are hard-coded. All right, great. So now I have my net income, and now I can start to plan my expenses. So some people go across the page. I'm just going to go down. Let's look at expenses. Once again, I'm going to bold it. And now I have to think about what are some things that I spend my money on. Again, this is going to vary significantly by person. So maybe you're just a young person starting off in your career and you're living by yourself, or you have a roommate, which sort of makes things a little cheaper. Maybe you're a little more advanced in your career and you have several children or pets or who knows what that are eating into your expenses. So I'm just going to make up stuff here as we go along and throw in numbers. If you want to make this spreadsheet useful to you and put in your numbers, great. If not, just go along my fake ones. Again, I care more about the skills. Can you create a spreadsheet that looks like this? Can you get it to work? Can you make it readable? This is what we're after for the first one. Again, I promise they will get more complicated as we go along. We're just starting off very simple, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. All right, let's just make up some stuff. How about your rent, your mortgage? And let's say this is $1,000, $2,000 a month. I don't even know. So let's say 1,500. We'll split the middle here. Maybe you have an expensive place. So 1,500 and then times 12. One thing to watch out for is your units. All of our income is yearly. So if our rent is 1,500 a month, I want to multiply that by 12 to get the annual amount. So I hit 1,500 times 12. And then what else? We probably want to eat in this apartment. And I had bold on for no good reason, so we'll turn that off using the keyboard shortcut. Food depends, do you eat cheap? Do you want steak and lobster for every meal? Who knows? I'm going to make up a number and say $5,000. Things that you might want to pay also, perhaps you have a car or transportation. And really what I'm going for here is not sort of an exhaustive list of like how much I spend on things. And again, you'd probably have to go through really your personal history of credit card or banking statements to see what you spend your money on. Maybe you travel a little bit. Maybe you buy stuff for the apartment. I guess the apartment doesn't come furnished. You probably want to buy some plates and forks, a broom, I don't know, whatever, toilet paper. That sounds important. So you have your food, you have your car, you have your travel. Maybe you have a pet. Maybe you don't. If you don't, of course, you leave this at zero. Maybe you want to buy some gifts for the family. Maybe you want to have some personal savings that you just want to pay. Maybe you have some loans that you have to pay off. Who knows? All right, I'm at the bottom of the screen, so I made my list. Again, I'm going to totally make up numbers here for no good reason and just put in some numbers, maybe $1,000 and another $1,000 and 500, and I'd like to save 5,000 a year, and I have to pay back 10,000 in loans per year. Who knows? All right, so you have this whole list, and you can imagine this goes on and on and on. But the point of it is, let's make it pretty. So I have my list. I'm going to highlight all the numbers. I'm going to change the formatting to currency. I'm going to remove the pennies. I'm going to indent my labels just to show that they're all under. Then I'm going to find my total. So total expenses. Now, last time I took the number and I tracked it off every single item in my list. This is a very short list, and I can already think of 10 things that I'm already missing, but that's okay. Instead of going through each single one and going this plus this plus this plus this, I'm going to use a formula, and I'm going to tell Excel to add them all up for me. There's a formula in Excel. If you haven't seen it, we're going to use it a lot. It's called equals sum, S-U-M, and that means to add up all the numbers in the cells that you highlight. So you type equals S-U-M, you open the parentheses, and then you highlight what you want. Now this is called a range. I'm highlighting B12 to B20 on my screen. I close the parentheses and I hit enter. Once in a while it yells at you, just check if you're getting an error, make sure that you closed the parentheses. Here I have my total expenses, $47,000. Whoops, that's not good. All right, so just watch what happened. So I'm making 28 and I'm spending 47. All right, clearly my numbers are too much. Maybe I don't spend this much on travel, or maybe I don't get the $1,500 apartment per month. So what's the last piece we need, right? We have our income, we have our expenses, and last but not least, we want our profit. This, of course, is going to be, when we go to business side of things, we're going to call profit. For us, it's going to be our total savings. So our net savings at the end of the day. And then let's bold this. This is an important number. And some people kind of panic when they see like they're spending too much. And I think that's the wrong approach. Like you just planned your numbers. And if you didn't make the spreadsheet, then you wouldn't know not to take that expensive vacation or not to take that expensive apartment, or perhaps you shouldn't buy that car. Who knows? So the key to all this is just planning it out using the numbers. All right, so here we go. So what do I want to do? I want to take my income minus my expenses. And what happens now is there's a minus sign. There's a minus sign in front of the number. This is a very important number, and often what we do is we'll change this to accounting. Sometimes when you see books, they use parentheses. I just want to show this to you as well. Again, I won't show the pennies just to get rid of some zeros. But if you ever see parentheses around a number, that is the accounting way to say this is negative. They don't like to put the negative on financial sheets because it's too small. And if you're scanning a massive financial document, it's too easy to miss that number. So you'll often see parentheses. Sometimes it's even in red if you want. You can make it red. But you can, they want to call this out with parentheses to show. Want to call this out with parentheses so that you don't miss the fact that it is negative. All right, so here I'm running a deficit of $19,000. This is where we play around with it. And I just want to show you, again, sort of the beauty of Excel if you're new to it a little bit. Let me shrink the zoom here so we could see it. Okay, one more thing that I want to do. I have a beautiful spreadsheet. It's working nicely. I see my loss of 19,000. We'll fix that in a second. But one thing usually you see on spreadsheets is a nice header. Perhaps this table could be presented in a PowerPoint or sent off in an email, or who knows. So what you want to do here is, or what we can do, is take both A1 and B1 and highlight both of them together. Then there's a button on the Home tab called Merge and Center. What that does is it combines the two cells into one big one, and then lets us center it on the two big ones. There's also a box here called Cell Styles on the Home tab. We could create our own nice style for this header. We could pick our own color that we want, but there's a bunch of things that are built in with colors and accents and heading. For no good reason, I'm going to pick heading 1 just to keep it simple. And again, it just makes it pretty. It doesn't change the functionality of the spreadsheet in any way. It just makes it look a little nicer. All right, so I'm going to copy my formulas. Everything with the formula is going to get my little formula text here, show you the formula, and I have my spreadsheet. And now, if this were really me, I might consider doing things like, I don't know, maybe putting a little less towards retirement. Maybe I don't put 5,000. And what's nice is, what if I say, well, I really need the money now, so let's put 4,000 away. Again, this is the beauty of Excel and probably why you're here to learn Excel. When I hit enter, notice everything changes. It flows through the entire spreadsheet, and I get now $18,000. So now I have to go through and find a way to cut some savings. So maybe I live with like 2 roommates and I cut my rent down a little bit, and it's only $500 a month. Again, if this were in Microsoft Word or something else, I would have to go through and calculate every single piece over again, recalculate the total, recalculate the net, and I can play around with this. So I hit enter, and all of a sudden my deficit is starting to crawl down. So maybe I don't get that pet. Maybe I don't have a pet. That's kind of nice. Maybe I'll cut my travel in half. And you can really start playing with this and see what you need to do to either break even or make the money you want. Now remember, this number is including already $5,000 in savings. Maybe that's a little unrealistic. I was too ambitious. So you can start just hacking away at it. And again, once you get your savings down to 1,000, now you're at 0. Notice it doesn't show 0. You have a dash. That's okay. So again, very nice spreadsheet that you can sort of pass off. Again, really, I would expand this out. This is just the beginning, but hopefully you were able to keep up, go through all the cosmetic things about the spreadsheet with the indenting, the salaries, the moving the columns around, showing the formulas. I hope this was easy. If not, go back, watch the video again, pause the video, work through it, expand it, add some functionality to it, be creative. And see what you can do. But if you can go through this spreadsheet, if you're able to keep up, that's fantastic. And we're going to go through and make your Excel skills even better and make you better creating spreadsheet models and using the functionality of Excel. So great job on this video. We'll see you next time.